The Lake District National Park is rounded by one of the most scenic coastal railway journeys in Britain, so let's go and travel through this first-class national park. I start at a rainy Manchester Piccadilly, and I'm soon passing through the old terraces in the suburbs. After a short walk around the city of Lancaster, where I can highly recommend the free guided tours around Lancaster Castle, the journey is already very scenic from Carnforth, which is where the film Brief Encounter was filmed, to the shipbuilding town of Barrow-in-Furness. After a brief lunch in Barrow, I take the local train along the Cumbrian Coast Line past the Furness estuaries and with the hills of the Lake District in the distance. It's really a fantastically scenic line, especially on a nice day like this. I'm travelling on the Cumbria Round Robin Day Ranger ticket, which lets you make a very scenic circular journey around the Lake District by rail, across the estuaries, along the sea and over the fells. I've used it to get from Lancaster to the village of Ravenglass, where the Lake District National Park meets the sea. Unfortunately, the Ravenglass to Eskdale narrow gauge line was closed while I was there, but it's a very nice village with even what's supposed to be a tidal ford across the estuary, or at least maybe at low tide. One might struggle to drive across an estuary that's deep enough to have boats floating in it. My Lake District walk goes through the forest, however. I pass the ruins of the 2nd century Roman bathhouse at Ravenglass, next to the site of an old Roman fort and naval base, which once would have looked over the natural harbour here at the frontiers of the Roman Empire. Hadrian's Wall and Caledonia aren't far away from here after all. Onward, through forests and up the hill of Newton Knott, overlooking the estuaries and the sea. I'd originally planned a much bigger climb, but the weather was of sun and showers all day, so this was an excellent alternative. Rounding the top of the hill, with the grand hills of the Lake District coming into view. Before the weather came in, and with thunder in the distance, here's my postcard of the Lake District on some much sunnier days, and with the Lake District National Park first class stamp affixed so that I can send it off later. With rain in the distance, it was time to descend through fields and an increasingly overgrown forest onto the Esk estuary, with the Barrow train rattling off over the river. I'd cut my return journey quite a bit finer than I'd have liked, but I make the train onward to Carlisle to get back to Lancaster and Manchester. This turns out to be a really spectacular journey, the Cumbrian Coast Line living up to its name, running right next to the Irish Sea as the sun sets over the water. With the dockyard at Barrow and with nuclear workers and soldiers boarding the train at Stellarfield, this kind of rural train journey often gives quite an insight into the local area. But the highlight was always going to be the great sight of sunset over the sea on the scenic route on the edge of the Lake District. I hope you've enjoyed this coastal journey around Cumbria and the Lake District. Join me next time for another first-class national park, and thanks for watching.